I'm going to tap into your marketing brain here a little bit. So as a marketing expert, the trucking industry is trying to figure out ways to hire new truck drivers and get more people into the trucking industry. Just a little bit of background. The American Trucking Association says that we're short 60, 80,000 truck drivers with a truck driver shortage. Others argue that it's just a turnover issue, but basically we don't have enough quality truckers on the road for a lot of these companies sticking around. And so one company, Schneider, big company, they are advertising on like the billboards inside American Truck Simulator, trying to inspire these gamers to, hey, join the trucking industry, do this in real life.
The goal of the game, very self-explanatory. What you'd expect realistically simulates the experience of being a truck driver in America. Players take on jobs that make deliveries across the country. And one real-life trucking company is hoping those in-game skills translate to the real world. Schneider National recently released advertisements that appear on billboards in this game. The virtual ads aiming to entice gamers to join the company as real-world truck drivers. All this because right now there is a shortage, about 80,000 truck drivers shy. According to the American Truck Driving Association, that number has remained roughly the same, but experts saying it's not moving in a good direction, forcing these truck companies to get creative.
And I'm just curious, from a gaming perspective to an advertising perspective, do you think it's a good idea?
Yeah, hiring and firing is extremely expensive.
Yeah.
And I think that there is a lot better awareness over the last decade of we are short truck drivers.
Yeah.
And I was extremely encouraged to see how many drivers, because I worked the till on Friday at the truck show, how many drivers that came in were young, where I'm like, ooh, you are young, and that is a big truck. And they're like, I got this, like, and just cruising in. I think from my understanding, there's especially with smaller companies, there's some really good family friendly approach to working in a smaller trucking company. There's a lot of mentorship. I think that's something that really resonates with Gen Z and millennials, is having somebody that's there for you, and love or hate the terminology, a little bit of the hand holding throughout the way. And that's why I love living in a small town, is because you have those connections. And I think that if you have those connections and that exposure, and you really have a family working together, there are a lot of family-owned trucking companies that a lot of those companies were at the truck show, and it was really cool to see that. And just kind of casually talking with people, a couple of the trucks are like, "How'd you get into it?" It's like a friend of a friend of a friend.
Yep.
And then they feel like, there's like a buy-in to that, because it's like, I feel like I'm a part of something. There's an organization called Dozer Days from the Nutter Foundation that they do these events for kids, that they just have heavy machinery that's out at the Blaine County Fairgrounds, and they pop kids on these tractors and let them play around with it. And they really try to emphasize, like, all the companies that are there, we enjoy being a part of this. It's a lot of fun, and you get to play with what you did with a kid in real life. It's the same sort of thing. I think that that's really smart. I think that having a multi-tiered approach, I probably wouldn't put all my money on running games, ads inside of games. But if you get some turnover, and what you can do is that you can measure that, from a digital marketing point of view, you can measure those efforts. So a lot easier. I think that the community-oriented focus, and then having events and getting people out, I think that's really helpful. There is a lot of, even though I'm a college instructor, my personal philosophy is that it's not for everybody. It really isn't for everybody. And there are a lot of places that have done disservice to students, saying that you have to go to college or else.